everybody. It's day 2 of getting these garden beds together. We got the boxes, the raised beds kind of set up, and I got some newspaper laid in there, and I'm going to start moving some of this compost over. I'll flip around so you can see. Alright, so there's a smaller raised bed. That's the bigger one. Lined it with old newspaper. I'm sure some of the weeds will still some of the grasses will still come through like in there, but as long as most of it dies, I should be able to tell the difference between these grasses and what I'm planting. So you can see in the middle there. Not too worried about it. But yeah, I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna use that bucket. I'm just gonna hand fill that and dump it in there. We'll see as we go how good a soil it really is. I mean, it's still pretty active at, what temp we got, 80, yeah, almost 90 degrees, and that's pretty far in, so, but that's alright. This just is mostly filler. That's fine. I'll just get a few bags of soil. But yeah, I'm going to first top off. I'm going to take off the top layer of both of these and use it to fill most of that taller one. And then hopefully it gets better as I dig here. Alright, well I'm going to get to... Alright, so we've gotten most of this big one filled. It's still mostly just wood chips, so I'm going to fill it to about 80%. And then I'll go get some more soil, but let me turn this left tower is leaning to the left. You can see that. So I'm just going to use a couple shims on the left side, get it straightened up. I'll need, well, 2 more at least, 3, maybe 4 more to do either side, probably 4, and the concrete blocks will go a little bit higher than that. You can see, yeah, it's still a lot of wood. And I know I've turned these piles about 2 months ago, and it's just so much. I mean, it's breaking down, the wood's breaking down. These were all large wood chips. It's better and better. It's super moist down here, it's warm. But yeah, I just don't want that much this wood down there. It just takes so much nitrogen out of the soil to break down this wood on top of the fungus that needs to do it. Well, that's alright. I'll just go get a couple big bags of soil. And then hopefully that'll be the last time I have to do that. Because definitely for this year, as far as compost, I'm going to add the 3rd bay. Try to use less wood chips overall, and make them a lot larger. I want them to be mounded. Huge mounds, and if I have to dump them all out to get it to turn, dump it out and fill it back up, that's what I'll do. But yeah, I need to be able to make as much of this compost as possible, or I just can't wait for this much wood to break down. So there'll be a lot more coffee grounds from the coffee store, whatever you want to call it. Cardboard, kind of like this stack I have here, just shredded up. And just food scraps, things like that. And I'll have a lot more scraps and stuff from the garden, so. But yeah, just for something I started last fall, really, October maybe. I collected quite a lot, and I'm using it for something. But yeah, you can see, well, I don't know if you can see anymore, all the bugs run away once you start exposing them to the sun. That's one of the reasons why you want to mulch, because all these bugs don't want to be in the sun either. But yeah, it's interesting. But alright, well, I'm gonna get to putting down a layer of this, composted, mostly broken down wood chips into each of these bays. And I'm kind of risking This is only, what, 10 inches? So it's going to be probably 3-4 inches of that soil, that compost, and then 4 inches of regular soil. So, I mean, it's not the best conditions for vegetables, but the biggest thing for, really, this is the first year doing any gardening of any type. It's really just getting things set up, and stuff will still grow, and it'll still be able to, you know, root through this compost that I'm putting down and all that. And this newspaper will be broken down in just, you know, just a matter of a couple weeks, so not overly worried about it. But it'd be nice to have this all filled and planted out, that planted out, and put all my tomatoes and stuff like that over there. Then the rest of this area will be cardboarded and mulched. So then in the fall, I'll probably plant several different bushes, or maybe just pot some perennials in some pots and put them in this area. So it'll be a whole area just of different edibles, perennial or annual, whichever. It'll still have that edge alongside on either side. So that'd be pretty cool. Alright, well, I'm getting back to filling. Alright, we are back. Needed to catch a second in the shade. It's about 85 degrees out today. It's 4 o'clock now. As you can see, I got my super thick cabbage, my tomato plants, then my 2 green peppers. 1, 2, 4 plants in each. There's 5 plants in this one. And I've got the soil in. I got 6 bags of garden soil from Lowe's. You can see the dirt, the soil there. So most of that is the half done compost. And then these last 2 boards up are that soil that I just bought, and then I just topped it up with mulch. So I'll move this mulch to the side, and I'm going to lay in a tomato plant sideways. I guess, I don't know, 3 of them. It depends on how root bound they are. Obviously they're still growing, but they pretty much need cages already now that the wind's hitting them. And it's getting toward evening, so this would be the best time to plant them. So if they're getting some sort of shock, it's easier when the sun isn't beating down on them. There's that smaller bed. And then I still need 3 more bags, and it was just the Miracle Grow 1.5 cubic feet of dirt, soil, whatever. So 1 bag did that one, so I'll need 3 more. So I'll get these, all the ones that I potted, at least get those in, and then tomorrow hopefully I'll get in and seed some more stuff. I got, 50 different things I want to plant. We'll see what I actually plant. And just another note, this area gets some shade. I probably won't, in the summer, probably won't get any shade until 5 or 5:30. But really all the rest of this is just going to be baking in the sun all day, so it might be too much sun, but we'll see. Alright, there's all the tomato plants. Then there's 4 pepper plants right there. For all these tomatoes, they actually did come apart pretty easily. I just did it on the back of the tailgate there. Then when I had them separated, I went down very, very low. So I'm hoping they'll re-root like they're supposed to, and then I just did a very light covering of mulch. We'll see how they are tomorrow. They're still standing decent right now. I'm going to get some water on them. Just one, whatever, 3/4 gallon thing, and I'll just put some water that I've filtered and cleaned out. Here, obviously, there's 4 tomato plants that, they just weren't coming apart. I figured it'd be best just to let it all go up as one, so we'll see. But yeah, there's probably another, 6 inches of plant under all these. I don't know if you remember seeing how tall they were in that pot, but yeah, they're buried pretty deep. And I wish I hadn't mulched before. I mean, I just tossed all the mulch down to the ground here, but I wasn't sure if I was going to be doing this tonight or not, but it would have been easier just to not have mulched it. But whatever, I got all that mulch out, exposed the soil, and then planted everything pretty deep. And so now, I'm going to grab those other pepper plants and that cabbage. I think I'll just put them in there. Should be easier. I'm interested to see how root bound that cabbage is. These tomatoes weren't at all. I probably could have kept all those in there the whole season. Yeah, they still have plenty of room to root. Would probably like it wider, but I would imagine that as the year went by in that pot, a couple of them just wouldn't fruit, I would think. They just wouldn't actually grow any tomatoes. They would just die out. But good to have them in the ground. And I will get this cabbage in and the rest of the peppers. Hi, good morning, everybody. This is now the 22nd. It's the next day. I got those tomato plants in, and I just want to kind of walk around and show kind of what my plans are for today. Sowing some seeds, and I want to walk over and show you how some violets. It looks like violets are coming up in a place where I'd sheet mulched last fall. It's right alongside where I planted a lot of my blueberry bushes, cranberries, and so I'll flip the. Alright, so here are the tomatoes. I put those little trellis things in. I'm going to have to string them up, it looks like. I just want to see how they'd pop up, because they're going to have to re-root. Like I said, there's probably at least this much more that needs to root, if not more, in each of these plants. So this one's already been pretty good. I just wanted to get the leaves off of the ground there, and this one's already coming up. Yeah, I mean, they seem to be doing just fine. When I watered them, the spray and force of the water that comes out of that can is ridiculous. Just beat these down. So as long as they're not sitting on dirt, so that'll help them. The wood chips isn't too bad. I'd rather them in the air, of course, but the peppers are okay. This one's curling a little bit, but we'll see if there's enough room for them all to reach maturity. So what I wanted to do is I'll get all my seed packets together and start planting out this box, and then I might get some dirt probably tomorrow, but that's all that. Cabbage, and then more 3 or 4 more pepper plants. But I like to get seeds in here, and then here's a walkway with 4 different blueberry plants, which may be okay, not sure. But one area I wanted to look at, planting things like rhubarb and kale and stuff like that, was this area. Swing around. So a lot of these look like violets to me. So this was all sheet mulch, and then this stuff came up through for whatever reason. I guess it wasn't thick enough, or there were cracks in my cardboard or whatever. But I don't really have a problem with that, because it's mostly, if that stuff's coming through, then it should be easy for me to move the wood chips aside and plant my own seeds. It'd be nice if there's flowers intermixed and all that, so I'd like to definitely get some stuff planted in here. It'd be more of a typical, I don't know, back to Eden method of gardening. And I think it'd be a good project for the next day or two. It's already getting pretty hot out, but I'll be out in shorts and a t-shirt, and we'll see how it goes. Here are the collection of seeds that I'd like to plant. So there's more tomatoes, cucumbers, kale, peas, beans. I'd like to get all this in various places, kind of mix it up between the raised garden beds and that other spot that's already been sheet mulched. The spinach that I planted or transplanted yesterday was this. And obviously, I mean, looks like every seed possible came through. And then this broccoli, I'd done that too, but the cats ended up jumping on it, and I just dumped it all outside. It's probably still growing outside, but not recognizably anyways. So these are the vegetables I'd like to plant, at least today. I kind of plan on planting stuff throughout the year, because some of this stuff, like this loose leaf, has a harvest of 45 days, so I don't need to, not necessarily worried about how late in the year it is, because they have such a turnaround. We have about really 5 months probably until we get our first frost sometime in October. Some of this colder hardy stuff like cabbage, things like that, and the colder squashes, actually you want to wait until the first frost. They get sweeter apparently. We'll test that theory out. One of the other things that I keep wanting to plant, but I keep forgetting, is, there you go, is Japanese white birch trees. You're supposed to, will it show? Doesn't want to. There we go. So basically, plant a whole bunch and thin if you want. Don't overwater. So if you're in good soil, and if you're in your little pot, you probably have to water it every day or two. If it's in the ground and it's got ground cover like that mulch, the soil itself would be moist enough for any plants. So remember, all these trees and plants, for the most part, grow in the ground naturally. We just try to control where they grow in gardening. So a lot of these tree seeds, they really like to be cold stratified, and I did that with all sorts of bushes and all that, and they still haven't sprouted. So whether I didn't stratify long enough, I didn't do the recommended 3 or 4 months, and I only did 2 months, maybe that's part of it, or just being in the fridge in that container wasn't actually the right method or not the right way to go about it. So I think for those other berry seeds and stuff, next week I'll probably just randomly plant them and just see, probably in pots first, and just see if I can get them to sprout. Because getting blueberry bushes, buying them can be $25, $30. And if I could just start a whole bunch from seed, that'd be a lot better. So I'm going to grab a couple things. I think I'm going to start with these onions. And maybe a couple peppers, I don't know. But at least these onions, I'm just going to plant them around that taller raised bed, because they don't take up a whole lot of space. They can just be a kind of a border plant. So I'm going to get a whole bunch of these out there, plant these, and kind of figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of them. I have some popsicle sticks, if I can find those. Some popsicle sticks, and that's what I'll use to label each one. Hopefully in the raised beds, I'll put them in rows near enough where I can put a label on it, so I know what's a weed and what's a plant. Some weeds will come in, especially with all the tall grasses that I have around on my property. They're already seeding, so there'll be a lot of seeds flying around. So the mulch itself will stop most of it from, setting in soil and germinating, but it's nice to know what should be growing and what shouldn't be. I've just planted out this area and show you, from here, this grass line, and up through here, and right here, this corner. And I've got little labels wash. And this is a little map that I drew so I can remember where everything is. It's not the scale. Guess this would be the cutoff. That would make more sense. The walkway kind of goes through here, and then these are all blueberry and cranberry currant plants. So I have all those. And then this, or basically this center where all these clover and whatnot are coming up, is going to be the new pathway. That was where I'd mulched on one side, and there's the pile, and then I had mulched to the right here. And one big thing about all of this, and here's an undisturbed spot. So there's still a lot of cardboard. So that I had to dig through. And this is a drier spot than most of everywhere else. But we must have like triple layered this. And another bad thing was stuff had tape on it. This is one of the first areas that I'd mulched. It's got tape on it. But it hasn't rained for 7 days. And the soil's all super wet. So I just used to have the seeds, and I just sprinkled the seeds randomly, but kind of break up the soil. I just used this and just stabbed it down over and over again. Kind of flung the seeds. And so I'll keep all these packets, the rhubarb and zucchini and all that. I'll keep all the packages. I just keep them, zip tied or clipped together. That way, and then I have this map, so depending on how well things turn out, how they grow, they only have to push through, half an inch or whatever. I mean, it was just a coating of wood chips. You can kind of see here for the broccoli. It's not a whole lot. There's soil right there. So it's really just that, basically. And they're all different varying lengths and widths and thicknesses of wood chips, so there'll be plenty of area for the stems and the seeds to come out toward the sun. And I think the idea is with all these that I've come through, when I was digging through there's so many roots of this stuff. I guess we'll find out if they're violets or not, but the ones that have come through, there's another 50 probably roots that are still trying to work its way through any soft spots in the cardboard. It was really amazing to see anything growing after going through probably 3 layers of cardboard and then the 3 inches of mulch that was there. You can see the amount, if you can see that popsicle stick is, and then how deep that is. It's a couple inches, and so it's pretty impressive. If these things want to grow, they'll grow, and we'll see how well everything I planted grows. And that's going to be it for at least this video. It's taken over 3 days, and this is supposed to be part 2 of a video, so I'm going to cut it here, get it posted, and then I'll think about what else and where else I'm going to plant it. Alright, so thanks for watching.